Hello everyone, welcome to the next lecture in the lecture series of cereal, legumes and oilseed process technology. Today we'll be starting with unit 3. The first topic in unit 3 is milling of corn. So we'll be first studying milling of corn. Let's see. So let's start with the introduction of corn first. So corn or maize, also called Zea maysel, is a cereal grain first domesticated by indigenous people of southern Mexico about 10,000 years ago. So it's a very old crop and has been used since a very long time. Okay, it is used for animal feeding, human consumption and for manufacture of starch, corn syrup solids, sugar, beer, industrial, spirit, etc. See, nowadays more common, like more innovative uses of corn has been established, like ethanol is being produced from corn, or some plastics are also being produced from corn starch. Okay, but traditional uses of corn include animal feeding, human consumption, and then manufacture of starch, corn syrup solid, or corn syrup is the popular sugar or sweetener that is being used in cold drinks nowadays, sugar, beer, industrial spirits. Okay, the product of milling include maize grits, meal, flour and protein and corn steep liquor. Okay, so the main product that are being industrially produced from corn are maize grits, meal, flour, protein and corn steep liquor. Okay, so industry, like when commercially we see, so corn is being utilized to produce these products, which are further utilized by other industries to produce some other final products, value added products. Now corn is consumed in many forms as vegetable, ready to eat snack, like by humans. When we consider our consumption of corn, so we consume it as a corn, like sweet corn, then as a ready to eat breakfast as corn flakes. Okay, then we have popcorn also. It is the like most popular snack, you can say. Popcorn is used, it's the oldest snack food and is very popular, or a very popular product made from corn or maize. The majority of corn consumed as human food has undergone milling. Okay, that is the majority, like human consumption if we consider, so majority of the products from corn undergo milling, that is industrial milling, and is consumed as specific or modified fraction of original cereal grain. That is, if we consider whole corn as a whole cereal grain, so the portion that we consume as humans, or that we consume as snacks or any product, so it is just a portion of the whole grain. Like we'll study about it, the composition and structure of corn, and then we will realize like what part of corn we are consuming. Okay, like other cereal grains, corn is milled to remove hull and germ. Like corn, it also has a hull and germ, so the industrial milling first removes this like hull and germ and then utilizes for further products. Okay, then we'll see about general composition of maize. So general components of corn, they include starch. Okay, nutritionally if we see, or compositionally if we see, so starch forms the majority of the corn, that is 61%. Then comes corn oil, or like oil, the fat or lipids in corn that are derived majorly from the germ. It constitutes about 3.8%. Then protein around 8%. We have fiber in corn around 11.2%. Then moisture content. See, in corn generally the moisture content of produce is around 16%. Okay. So here you can see in this figure, we will discuss about the structure of corn here. So like corn, the major here, okay, one portion is your endosperm. Okay, if you see in this figure, the outermost portion is your endosperm, and as per weight, 82% of the grain size or the grain weight is your endosperm, and contains starch, like components like starch and protein. Then comes your pericarp, that is your outer covering is your pericarp, and it also serves as a protective covering for the corn. Then is your germ. Germ is around this portion. Okay, so germ contains genetic information. Also it helps for the plant to grow. Suppose if you germinate your corn, so it is a germ which will grow into a plant. Then comes the tip cap. Okay, so this tip cap is like helps in water absorption or nutrient flow to the corn grain. Okay, so this is a general composition we'll see here. So the mature corn is composed of 4 major parts. First one is your endosperm, that is around 82%. Then is your germ, around 12%. Pericarp, around 5%. And tip cap forms only 1% of the total corn grain. Okay. Next we will study about the composition or the structure of corn in detail now. So here you can see, like in this figure, endosperm, as already discussed, it is the outermost portion in case of corn, and is forms around 82% of the dry weight of your corn grain. Okay, it is like rich in starch and protein. So this endosperm, it serves as a storage unit for your corn plant. Like it stores majority of your starch. Like it is rich in starch, and when need arises, this starch, since it is a carbohydrate, it can be converted back into its monomeric unit, that is glucose, and provide energy to the plant. So endosperm, it consists mainly of starch and serves as an energy storage unit for the plant, and also it contains protein like which will help during germination for the growth of the plant. Okay, next we'll see here is pericarp. Okay, so pericarp here is the outermost covering, here this one. Okay, so the outermost covering of the corn grain is your pericarp, the outer covering that protects the kernel and preserves the nutrient inside. Okay, it also serves as a prevents from the attack of pests and insects. Like pericarp, it is a hard shell, sort of hard shell or covering over the corn grain, so it serves and protects the like all the nutrients inside. The pericarp resists water and water vapors and protects against insect and microorganisms. Since it is not permeable to water or water vapors, so it protects against microbial spoilage also. If the like all the corn grain, it absorbs water, so it will be more prone to your microbial attack. Okay, so next we will see about other two parts, that are germ and your tip cap. So here you can see the germ in this figure. It is present in this region of the grain. Okay, germ contains the genetic information of the seed or of the plant, and it helps the plant to grow. Like whenever germination occurs, it is the germ which grows into the plant. Okay, so germ also contains a huge amount of oil and lipids. Okay, so the living organism in kernel is the germ. It contains genetic information, enzymes, vitamins, minerals which help the kernel grow into a new corn plant. About 25% of the germ is your corn oil, and thus during milling, when germ is separated, so that separated germ is used for oil extraction from the germ. Okay, now next or the last one in your structure is your tip cap. Okay, so tip cap is present at the bottom of the grain or the kernel. Okay, so where the kernel, you'll see here, where the kernel is attached to the cob. Cob means the like whole corn cob, you can say, where the kernel is attached to that one, that is your tip cap. Okay, and water and nutrient flow through the tip cap into the kernel. Okay, so when the growth of the plant occurs, it requires various nutrients or also water supply, and that occurs through your tip cap here. Okay, so this part of the kernel is not covered by the pericarp. This is to be noticed. This part, like this tip cap here, it is not covered by the pericarp, but pericarp does not protect it from any moisture loss, because function of tip cap is to provide water, to provide supply of water and nutrients. So if pericarp is there, that will be hindered. So tip cap, it does not contain any layer of pericarp. Okay, so next we will see about the corn classification. So about the corn classification, if you see, we have first variety as dent variety. Okay, first variety here is your dent variety. So it have a pronounced depression or dent on the top of the kernel after maturation. You can see in this figure. So when your corn grain or corn kernel has a sort of dent, okay, so that variety is your dent variety, or that corn falls under dent variety. It has hard particles or hard patches of densely packed endosperm cell at the outer edge of their endosperm, and soft and opaque cells toward their center. Okay, so suppose here is your corn grain, right? So at the outer portion, it will have a hard layer of your endosperm cells, while as you move inside, so inside it will have a softer cells, opaque cells towards their center. Okay, so this is your dent variety. Shape varies from long, narrow to wide and shallow. Okay, that is the shape of the kernel. It can be either so it can be either long and narrow, or it can be wider and shallow. That is, the width will be small but it will be wider. Okay, so this is your dent variety. Next we will see here the flint variety. Okay, so the flint variety, they have a continuous hard layer surrounding the endosperm. Okay, so on the top of the endosperm, or on the top of the outer covering of the your kernel, they have a hard layer of cells on the endosperm. They dry evenly upon drying and therefore do not form any dent. That is, when maturation occurs, when the corn grain dries up, so they dry evenly, and that's why there is no dent, as in case of your dent variety. Here you can see the kernel will be round one, it will not have any dent on the surface. Okay, so this is your flint variety, because also it has a hard layer surrounding the endosperm. Now next one we'll see the flour variety or the soft variety. So the variety which is used to make flour out of the corn, or which is used to make corn flour, is your flour and soft variety. Flour or soft variety, they are almost entirely opaque and soft. That is, they are very opaque in the sense like they will be white in color. Okay, so here you can see they have they are very soft. If you press them, they will break, plus they are almost white. Okay, it's the soft maize variety that are normally used to make corn flour. So when corn flour is produced, so generally this variety is used, that is your flour or soft variety. Then we have fourth variety, that is your waxy variety. In waxy variety, they have a waxy appearance, especially when broken. Okay, the corn grain, they have a waxy appearance on the top of the grain. Also, when it is broken, they will give a very waxy appearance. The starch in this type of variety of corn, it mainly consists of amylopectin. It has very little amylose. Okay, so you can say the amylose content is negligible and 100% amylopectin is present, because usually when starch of corn is being considered, we have a 70-30 ratio. That is, 30% amylose will be present and 70% amylopectin will be present in the normal variety. But in this variety, or your waxy variety, almost like negligible amylose is there and 100% amylopectin is present. Okay, so this is how they look. They have a waxy appearance on the top. Okay, so this is your waxy variety of corn. Okay, so next we will study about your corn processing. See, corn, when it is harvested from the fields, it is in like attached to the cob. In order to utilize it, we need to detach it from the cob and further need to process it to remove the unwanted material like the pericarp, because mostly we need the endosperm that is in the corn grain, that can be utilized to make further value added or final products. So when corn is processed, it can be done by two methods, either by dry milling or by wet milling. Okay, so in dry milling also there are two methods. One is traditional method. Okay, and second one is your modern method. So in what happens in traditional modern method is, so dry milling may or may not include degerming as a preliminary step. So when you remove the germ, or when degerming is a preliminary step before processing of corn, so that is your modern method. And when you do not remove the germ from the corn grain, that is your traditional method. So there are a disadvantage in traditional method. We will see non-degerming dry milling is carried out on a local basis in small grist mills and in modern roller mills using sifters and purifiers. That is, when the scale of processing is small, or whether when it is being milled locally, so what happens is generally the germ will not be removed. Okay, while when it is on a commercial scale, so your germ will be removed. The maize is ground to make coarse wholemeal of 85% to 95% extraction rate. Okay, so maize is simply ground, and your extraction rate in this case is around 85 to 95%. Okay, while in wet milling and dry milling involving degerming are carried out on a large commercial scale, that is when your scale of processing is large and you're carrying it out in a large scale industry, so this degerming step is almost essential. Okay, so it is essential for increase the shelf life of the product. Here you can see dry milling not involving degerming process, that is dry milling not involving germ removal is highly susceptible to the rancidity, as the germ is retained, which has a high oil content around 32 to 35%. We have studied that the germ has high amount of your oil. So when oil is present and you are not removing the germ and you are simply grinding your corn, so your final product will also have a high content of fat or corn oil, which will make it more susceptible to your rancidity. Okay, so when oil is present and oxidation occurs in your flour, like if it is exposed to air or kept in sunlight or whatever the cause may be, so it is more prone to rancidity or oxidation. Okay, so this is the disadvantage of non-degerming process in your traditional milling. Okay, so next we will see here about corn milling or dry corn milling. Okay, so two different systems are used for dry milling of corn. One is non-degerming system, we have already studied, and second one is degerming system. Okay, as I already explained, the non-degerming system grinds corn into mill with hardly any separation of germ. Okay, that is germ is not removed or separated. This corn meal has comparatively shorter shelf life. This is a disadvantage, like when you do not remove the germ, it will have a shorter shelf life as the germ is retained, which contains around 32 to 35% oil. This oil, in presence of oxygen and lipolytic enzymes, is prone to oxidation and hydrolytic rancidity. Okay, which will reduce the shelf life of your final product. If flour is there, then the shelf life of flour will be comparatively less. Hence, it is necessary to remove the germ from corn to produce corn products with much lower fat content and greater shelf life. So this is a disadvantage when you do not remove the germ, and when you remove the germ, your product will have a higher shelf life and lesser fat content. It will be of a like improved quality. Okay, so next is your tempering. So tempering and degreening system removes most of the germ and hull and leaves the endosperm free of oil. Okay, when you involve tempering, we will study about this. So tempering and degerming system, okay, when you remove the germ, it removes most of the germ and hull and leaves the endosperm as free of oil and fiber as possible. Like it will remove maximum amount of oil and fiber, and your final product after tempering and your degerming will be free of germ and free of oil and fiber as possible, to recover maximum yield of endosperm as large clean particles. So in this case, like tempering is to remove the pericarp or the outer hull, and your degerming process will remove the germ. So it will give you a product which will be mostly your endosperm and usually in larger particles. Okay, so in this case the major amount of your product will be your endosperm. Okay, so corn is cleaned to remove dirt, stones, insect, tramp ants, and broken kernel and extraneous plant material. So before processing or before starting to process your corn, you have to clean the corn to remove any extraneous matter or trapped insect or iron or any other broken kernel. Okay, the corn is then conditioned by adding water to increase the moisture content to 20% or like it ranges about 20 to 25% during this process, and the moistened corn is allowed to equilibrate for 1 to 3 hours. It is left for conditioning so that equal distribution of moisture will be there, that the moisture in all parts of that corn will be spread equally. So the objective of this step, that is conditioning, like addition of water, is to loosen the germ and toughen the bran, so that during milling, removal of germ and your bran will be easier. And to mellow the endosperm so as to obtain a maximum yield of grit and a minimum yield of flour in the subsequent milling. That is, your endosperm will be softened or to mellowed, so that your final product will consist majorly of your endosperm and like as a large particles of grit. Like when you mill, this has an advantage, the conditioning step has an advantage during milling, that your endosperm will be separated as a whole and very less chances, or your amount of flour during milling will be reduced. Okay. So next we will see like how degerming happens. Degerming or dehulling is carried out in one of the three ways, either BL degerminator. So in this is an equipment, it will degerminate your product and remove the hull. Okay, with roller mills and sifters, and with impact machines such as entolators and gravity separators. So these are the three methods in which degermination or degerming or dehulling can take place. Okay, now here you can see, once the germ and hull are removed, the endosperm is reduced in size using your roller mills. Okay, so once this separation of germ and hull takes place, your endosperm can be reduced by using roller mills to the desired size that is required, okay, or to grits of desired size. A complex array of additional roller mills and particle size separating equipment is used to purify and size endosperm particles. That is, this roller mills, additional roller mills, they can be added in order to reduce the size to desired size or what is required by the customer, and to purify, like to remove any extraneous matter or any flour that has been formed during this process. All products must be dried prior to packaging and bulk storage. See, during this conditioning step, we have increased the moisture content to around 21 to 25%. Okay, so before final packaging, the moisture content needs to be reduced. So at the last, there is a drying step, so that the moisture content can be like reduced to the desired levels. Okay, so next we will see about different steps in your corn dry milling. So first step in your corn dry milling is your cleaning. See, first when the maize arrives after being separated from the cob, the corn arrives. So first of all, it has to be cleaned. That is, all the foreign impurities or foreign particles, like some particles of cob might be there, some haystack might be there, or some other based on like weight or density. So these different impurities or foreign particles are separated, like some stone might be there. Okay, so first step is your cleaning, then comes conditioning. Okay, degerming, drying, cooling, grading, and milling. So we will be reading about all these steps in detail now. So milling is your ultimate, like the last step in which you will you will mill your product, or you will grind your product according to the requirement of the market. Like in case of dry milling, so usually the final products of dry milling are your endosperm grits of varying size. Okay, so we'll be reading about this in detail now. So here you can see, this is the flow chart of how this dry milling takes place. So that is, after receiving of grain, it goes to preliminary cleaning, then wet cleaning. That is, your grains or your corn or your maize grains are washed with water. Then tampering takes place. Under tampering, you will sprinkle some water to the corn grains, so as to raise the moisture content to around 21%. Okay, so that will make your degerming easier and your removal of hull also easier. So next step will be your degerming, in which your germ is removed. After that, the moisture content that has been added, the water that has been added, needs to be dried. So the moisture content is again brought down to around 15 to 18%, or even lower sometimes. Then grains, like in the dryer, your temperature of grains will increase, right? So in order to prevent any further damage to the starch and other constituents, so this grain needs to be cooled down to bring it to the normal temperature. And then through aspirator, suppose if some lighter particles are there, some hull particles that have been separated from the grains, or some other impurities, dust or anything, so through aspirator these impurities are cleaned or separated. Then comes your sifter. Okay, sifter, in sifting, your particle size separation will take place based on the size of the particle. Then aspirator again, then we have roller mill, sifter, again dryer, and cooling chamber, then storage. Okay, so basically we will study about all those steps which we had discussed in previous slide in detail now. So first one is your cleaning. Okay, so what happens in cleaning is, your grain, when corn is received at the mill, it is cleaned by both a dry and wet cleaning. That is by drying dry air, that is without adding moisture to it or without washing it with water. First it is cleaned so as to remove any lighter impurities, dust particles, cob stacks, or any haystack that may possibly come into your grains. Then it is also cleaned by wet process, that is by washing it with water. Okay, then cleaning steps are sieving. So in cleaning, there are certain steps in order to remove those impurities or foreign particles based on their size, gravity, density. Okay, so these steps are sieving, separating a particle by shape and density, and then removing ferromagnetic particles with the help of your magnets. Okay, so sieving, separating, separating different particles based on their shape and size by passing it through different sieves or different mesh size. Then based on density, and removing the ferromagnetic metal by permanent magnet, that is using magnets to remove any magnetic particles or ferromagnetic particles that may come into your maize grains during your milling or during your dry milling. Okay, so here you can see, like, there are some separators or cleaners based on which, like, based on the shape and the density and gravity or specific gravity of your particles, so the different particles will separate out into different streams. Okay, so this is just a example to demonstrate how this cleaning takes place. Like, based on the sieve size, your larger particles will not enter the sieve, while your finer particles will enter the sieve, and if the particle has a smaller size than that mesh size, so it will enter into that one, and based on the density or your specific gravity of the particle, further it will be separated out because of the, you can say, while sieve is there, it will be inclined, so based on the momentum gained by them, so that is dependent upon the mass of the particle, so they will be further separated out. Okay, so first step is your cleaning here. Okay, so first step is your cleaning here. Then next we will see now. Next step is your conditioning. So in conditioning, what happens is, the cleaned corn, that is the after cleaning, the corn that arrives is conditioned. That is in conditioning, water is added and the moisture allowed to equilibrate within the kernel. That is water is added, some amount of water depending on the initial moisture content of your corn. So some extra water is added so as to increase the moisture content to around 21%. Okay, so this moisture content is raised to 21% by adding some water, and it is allowed to settle down. Some time is given for that moisture to reach all the directions in the grain, or to reach all the parts in the grain. Okay, so that all the parts in the grain, they will have equal moisture content or equal moisture. Okay, so the second step is conditioning. So what is the purpose of conditioning is, so once your grain or your corn is conditioned, so removal of germ and hull becomes comparatively very easy. Okay, then next step is your degerming. So in degerming, what happens, the purpose of degerming is to remove hull, tip cap, and the germ of the grain, and leave the endosperm into large grids. The purpose in this step, that is degerming, is to remove your germ as main objective, but besides that you have to remove your tip cap also and your hull particles if present. Okay, so all these are removed, and your final product in this case will be your endosperm in form of large grids. Okay, so this is degerming. Then comes drying. See, after conditioning, the moisture has been raised to 21%, right? Now, purpose of conditioning was to remove the germ, that is degerming, or to make the process of degerming easier. So that after degerming, the objective has been fulfilled. So we again need to bring down the moisture content to initial conditions, that is around 15 to 18%, so as to increase the shelf life. If moisture is excess, your grains are more prone to spoilage. Okay, so next step will be your drying in this case. So the degermer products are to be dried to 15 to 18% moisture content for proper grinding and sifting. Okay, beside the storage condition or storage quality, the objective of bringing down the moisture content to 15 to 18% is your proper grinding and sifting. So if you bring down the moisture content, so it will make your grinding and sifting easier. Okay, drying is performed by conventional rotary steam tube dryers at temperature around 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, so any conventional dryer can be used for drying of corn grains, and the temperature at which it is usually dried is around 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, so so after drying, your grains need to be cooled down. That is, if you keep your grains at a high temperature for a long time, it will again cause some damage to the to the particles, to the starch that is present in the endosperm and other constituents. Okay, so for cooling, counterflow or cross flow rotary coolers or fluidized bed type coolers can be used to cool up the dried product. See, after drying, the moisture has been brought down to 15 to 18%, but the temperature is still high. So we need to bring down that temperature to normal conditions, that is maybe at your room temperature conditions. Okay, so for that case, any counterflow or cross flow rotary cooler or fluidized bed type cooler can be used. Okay, so after cooling, see in this case you can see this is sort of rotary cooler. So your grains are inside this drum, and which is being sprayed with your cold water. Okay, which will essentially bring down the temperature of whole grains to your normal temperature, or whatever the temperature that is desired or this equipment is designed to reach. Okay, so after cooling, your next step will be your grading. Okay, so in grading, what happens is, based on different particle size of the endosperm, or based on the quality of the endosperm, your endosperm or your final product of this drying and cooling is separated. That is, primary products classified by particle size. Okay, so in the case of grading, your principle of separating out the particles is your particle size, and enter into a conventional long reduction system which remove bran and germ. Okay, so after separating it out into different particle size, into categories of different particle size, so they enter a reduction system where your bran and germ, they are filtered out, they are removed from your final product. Okay, now main objective is to recover various primary products. Now your various primary products in this case are endosperm, which will be present in form of large grids. Okay, so this is the major product that you will get. Okay, so besides endosperm, you will also get your germ particles that has been separated out during degerming. Apart from that, you will also get your hull or bran. Okay, so this germ, this is further used for oil extraction. Okay, in case of corn, your germ contains a large amount of, or up to 25% oil. So this germ that has been separated out during a degerming process can be used further for extraction of oil. Okay, and this hull and bran, they can be used for different animal feed, for making different animal feed, or any different products like where high fiber content is required. Okay, so these are the primary products which has to be separated out during grading. Okay, now next is your milling. Okay, so after your endosperm in form of large grids has been extracted, so further your this primary product, that is endosperm, it will go different milling operations consisting of grinding, sifting, classifying, purifying, aspiration, and in some cases final drying. Okay, so what happens is, after your product has been obtained, that is endosperm in form of large grids, so this feed will be entered into this reduction or break rolls. Okay, so this feed is entering, and first it will be broken down into finer particles. If required, another set of rollers or another set of break rolls or reduction rolls can be installed in order to convert those particles into further finer size. Suppose if starch or corn powder is required or corn flour is required, again it can be done by adding or installing a reduction rolls, pair of reduction rolls. Okay, so what happens in this case is, first your grinding will take place. Okay, first your grinding will take place. After grinding, so you will get a mixture of different particle size, right? That needs to be separated because application depends on the size of the particle. Okay, finer particles are there that can be used into the flour or as a cornstarch. So after grinding, you sifting will take place, that is separation of these particles based on particle size. Based on size. Okay, size of the particle. So based on the size, suppose if you are getting a large grits that of endosperm, so that can be used for further like extraction of starch or production of ethanol also. But depending on size, the application varies. So sifting will help separate out different sizes based on the particle size. Okay, then classifying based on this particle size. Okay, so based on the particle size, your products of grinding or your products of milling will be classified into different products or different categories. Like if this has a particular particle size of up to 3 mm, then this is this category, minimum 1 to 3 mm categorization will be there. So based on the particle size, classification of your products of milling will be there. Then purifying means after separating out or after sifting has taken place, after classifying has taken place, so these products which we are getting after sifting, so they may contain some impurities or they may contain some particle size of some particles or some grains of different particle size, so they can be purified. Or there may be some extraneous matter present, some dust or some other material which may have entered during your milling process. Okay, so that can be done or that can be separated out during purification or purifying process. Then aspirator helps remove impurities that are lighter in weight. Okay, so if suppose if large grits of endosperm are a product of your milling and they also contain some smaller or some lighter particles, so that can be removed by aspiration. Okay, in some cases final drying may be required to bring down the moisture content to a particular level or to particular percentage that is required by your further application by the industry. Suppose ethanol production or starch production from corn is to be take place. So based on that, the requirement of that process, so you can finally dry or you can install or you can add one step of drying in order to reduce the moisture content to the required level. Okay, now normal flow is through break rolls and then to sifters and then to reduction rolls. Okay, followed by reduction roll, that is after your endosperm grits pass through break rolls, then it will first be sifted or be separated out into different particles, and then larger particles, if they need to be reduced to smaller particles, they can pass through your another set of reduction rolls. Okay, so basically this is how this dry milling takes place. Okay, so that was the process, or that was the whole process of your dry milling. Now we will be starting with your wet milling process. Okay, so in wet milling the process is almost similar but with little bit difference. Okay, your first step is your cleaning as in case of your dry milling, then soaking. Okay, in that case your second step was your conditioning, in which you raise the moisture content to around 21%. But in this case soaking, so we are also using some chemical additives and we are soaking in water for a longer time so as to raise the moisture content to around 45%. We'll be studying about it in detail. So then third step is your germ recovery, that is removal of your germ. Okay, then next step is grinding, then hull recovery, and then separation. Separation means separating out different particles or different products that we have obtained during your grinding and hull recovery. Okay, so we'll be reading about that in detail now. So here you can see this is a flow diagram for your wet corn milling process. Okay, so first after receiving corn, your corn cleaning will be there. Okay, corn cleaners will be there based on dry cleaning and wet cleaning using water. Your corn will be cleaned of all the foreign particles or any dust or dirt that has been sticking to your corn. Okay, then there will be steep tanks. So in steep tank, your soaking will take place, okay, or steeping will take place. In this, what happens, your grains or your corn grains are steeped into water or soaked into water for longer durations, along with the addition of some SO2 or acidulated water or steam. Okay, so moisture, like there will be rise in the moisture content of the grains, which will make your degerming easier. Okay, then there are germ separators or degermers, which will remove the germ from your corn grains. Then grind mills, then washing screens, which will wash all the products of grind mill. Then centrifugal separators. So centrifugal separator in this case of wet milling will separate out starch from gluten. Okay, then starch washing hydroclones. Okay, hydroclones are nowadays hydroclones are used instead of your centrifugal separators. So function is same, to separate out starch. Okay, then starch and nutritive sweetness. Okay, now in this you can see, suppose if these are your byproducts, you can say, during this process, that steep water which has been used for steeping of your grains. So steep water, after evaporating, the water that is present, that has been extracted, like after your corn grains have been extracted after from your steeping water, so that steeping water are sent for evaporation. After evaporation, you will get condensed fermented corn extracts. Okay, so that steeping water may absorb some of the starch into it, so that can be recovered and you can get some fermented corn extracts. Okay, from germ separator you will get germ separated. Okay, the product or the byproduct of germ separators are your germs. So after germs have been separated, so this germ extractors or germs that has been extracted, they will be sent for oil extraction. Okay, germ, as we have read, these are rich in oil. Corn germ are rich in oil, so they are sent for corn oil extraction from the germ. Okay, and the leftover or after extraction of your germ oil will be your corn germ meal, which is mostly used as animal feed. Okay, so these are mostly used as animal feed. And then from your washing screens, like after milling has taken place, your hull will be removed, right? So that hull, that will be washed away and will be sent into your to be used as your gluten feed. Okay, then in centrifugal separators, the leftover gluten will be separated from your starch, and then you will again you will get some gluten meal which can be used as animal feed. Okay, so these are the byproducts of your wet milling. Okay, we will be reading about them also in detail. So for now, let's move on to your corn wet milling process. Okay, as we have read already, so first step of any milling is your cleaning. Okay, after separation of corn grains from your cob, so first step is your cleaning. Under cleaning, what happens, all the impurities that are present from agricultural feed, so that will be removed, such as dust, chaff, cob, stones, insect infected grains, broken grains, and other foreign material. They can be removed from your corn grains and are by screening or aspiration. That is aspiration. Aspiration means blowing of your air to remove the lighter particles. So they can be removed by aspiration, plus screening can help you remove different particles based on their size. Okay, if any heavier particles are there, they can also be removed through this process, through aspiration. And then based on size, you can do screening, or you can pass it through different sieves or screens to remove particles that are not wanted based on their particle size. Okay, the clean grains are further conveyed to the storage bins. Okay, after cleaning these grains, they are conveyed to your storage bins. So this cleaning can either be dry cleaning or wet cleaning, as we have read. So if it is wet cleaning, first you need to dry your grains again before sending it to your storage bins. Okay, so next step after cleaning in this case will be your steeping. So in case of steeping, water is impregnated with SO2, that is, you are using acidulated water, that you are acidulating or you are acidifying your water with H2SO3, sulfurous acid, not sulfuric acid. So that is, SO2 will be impregnated into your water, and that water will be used for soaking of your corn grains. It is used for steeping to prevent fermentation during long steeping process. Why is SO2 being used here? Because it will if the pH is lower, it will prevent any fermentation process. Okay, it will that is, suppose in case of soaking or steeping, you are keeping your grains for a long time, like 2 to 3 days. So if you are adding, or if you are using acidulated water which has been acidulated with sulfuric acid, so it will prevent any fermentation process that might take place during your steeping or your soaking process. Okay, now this is carried out at 50 degrees Celsius for about 28 to 48 hours. Okay, so this steeping or soaking process in case of your wet milling is carried out up to 28 to 48 hours. Okay, the final moisture content in this case is your 45%. Okay, in case of dry milling it was 21%, but in case of wet milling your final moisture content will be your 45% that will be attained in your soaking process. Okay, now what are the objectives here? First let's see how it takes place. So here is a schematic diagram to show you the steeping process. So what happens is your corn grains are present here. So this water is added to your cleaned corn grain here. Okay, so this is your normal water, and from this side your SO2 impregnated like steep acid is further added into this process. Okay, extra will be sent through here to the outside to the discharge of your waste, and the rest will be coming here. Okay, so this is your steeped grain. Okay, you're keeping your corn grains here for steeping for around 28 to 48 hours where your steep water has been added. So after your steeping time is over, so this steeped corn grains will be sent to your mills for further processing, that is your degerming and other processes. So it will be sent to your mill. Okay, now next let's see what is the objective. Why do we perform steeping? Okay, what is the uniqueness of steeping? So in case of steeping, the objectives are it softens the kernel for grinding. Okay, first of all, your during steeping your kernel will be softened because you are also adding SO2. It is acid related, plus you're keeping it for a long time, so it will absorb all the moisture and the grain will become softer. Okay, facilitate separation of gluten from your starch granules. See, in case of corn grain, both gluten, some amount of gluten is present along with your starch granules. Okay, now this steeping process will help you separate out gluten from your starch granules. Okay, this is one of the advantage which will be utilized later. So it also removes soluble mainly from germ. Okay, that is there are some soluble particles present in your corn grains which are attached to your germ particles. So it will also help remove those soluble starch particles, soluble particles from your germ grains, which will make the degerming process easier. Okay. Plus one more advantage we have discussed of steeping with the SO2, that is acid water, is it will prevent any fermentation processes during your long hours of steeping. So next step in your wet milling is your germ recovery. Okay, germ recovery or degerming removes the germ from your corn kernel. Okay, what happens here is the wet softened corn kernel after your steeping having 45% moisture content is torn in a degerminating machine which uses a metallic stationary plate and a rotating plate with projected teeth. Okay, it has teeth like this. Okay, there is a rotating plate with teeth which can tear apart your maize kernel. Okay, so it will help you tear your maize kernel, which will release the germ. See, in case of corn, your germ is present inside your corn kernel. So in order to take out the grain, in order to separate out the germ from your corn kernel, you have to tear apart the grain. So it is done through your degerminating unit, which has a stationary metallic plate and a rotating plate with projecting teeth. Okay, thereby freeing the germ without grinding them. Okay, so there will be a metallic plate in a, like you can say, circular shape, and there will be rotating plate with your teeth. Okay, and your corn grains will be somewhere here. Okay, so in between them, so since this plate is rotating, it will tear these kernels and will release those germs. Okay, and will release those germs in your from your corn kernel. Okay, the pulpy mixture containing germ, husk, starch and gluten is then passed through the So the pulpy mixture containing germ, husk, starch, gluten is then passed through hydroclones. Okay, hydroclones, they utilize centrifugal force. Okay, through centrifugation force they will separate out these different particles from the grains based on their specific gravity. Okay, and this will be separated and given as a different feed. Okay, or flotation method. Okay, now this hydroclones is used nowadays. It is a modern method. In earlier times your flotation method used to be prevalent. Okay, but So what you used to do in flotation method is you used to put your this grinded after your degerming, you used to put those feed or whatever slurry you have got into water, and the lighter particles, usually the germ will float on the surface and the endosperm will settle at the bottom, and thus you can separate them out. Okay, so these are density separators. Okay, flotation method, where the germ being lighter is separated from the other heavier ingredients by centrifugal force. In case of centrifugation also, or in case of your flotation method also, since your germ is lighter than the other particles, it has some oils and fats, so it will be separated out being lighter. Okay, it will separate out to the top and your heavier particles will settle at the bottom, and thus can be separated out easily. So by this process, germ recovery can be there, or you can separate out germ from your rest of the slurry or rest of your feed. Okay, now this germ will further is sent for your oil extraction. Okay, so the germ obtained from this germ recovery process is sent for oil extraction. Okay, since this germ contains 25% corn oil, a significant amount of oil can be extracted from the germ in this milling process. Okay, now this is like from your germ recovery, germ is your byproduct, and from germ further oil is extracted. So further we'll see in the next step in your milling process is your milling, that is your size reduction. After germ separation and screening of the coarse particles, the mixture containing starch, gluten and hull. Okay, now since germ has been separated, what you will be left with like after cleaning and after passing it through sieves, what you will be left with is your starch, your gluten and your hull particles. Okay, now these needs to be separated out because all these constituents or all these particles, they have a different role, they have a different application. Okay, so in this step, endosperm and the hull are ground either by Burnstone mill or by modern entoilators, impact mills, to release the rest of the starch. Okay, now after your degerming process, your slurry had some amount of starch, some amount of gluten and hull. Now in this milling process, the rest of the endosperm which is present in your large grit particles will be further broken down into your starch form. Okay, now this starch is what is required from this wet milling. Okay, so this starch can be further used for production of ethanol or production of your corn syrup or any other application which is obtained from your corn. Okay, now this milling is done either by Burnstone mill, which is a traditional one, or in like modern mills, your in modern mills your entoilator impact mills are used. Okay, so your byproduct of your, or the final product of your milling will be your starch, gluten and some particles of hull. So now in milling, your final product obtained after your milling will be your starch, gluten and some hull particles. Okay, now after your primary steps have been performed, so material that is to be ground in milling is entered to the machine via a feeding rotor. Okay, spinning rotor blades. So this will supply you your feed into the machine, okay, through a spinning rotor, and is thrown out with great force against the impactors. So there will be some impactors in the machine which will further break down your particles. Okay, impactors at periphery of the rotor and also against a stationary impactor, resulting in considerable reduction in the particle size. Okay, so in this case, when this your rotor or a spinning rotor throws your this slurry with such a high impact to your impactors, so these impactors, there is a moving impactor and there is a stationary impactor, so your grains will be broken down into your further smaller particle size. Okay, here only the starch is readily released with the very little size reduction of the hulls. So in this case, your primary product is your, or your primary target is your removal of starch or extraction of starch from the slurry. Okay, so this starch is the one which will be released as a your primary or your main product, while there will be very little size reduction of hull particles. Okay, so this starch can now be easily separated because it is present in form of fine particles. Okay, and the hulls can be removed from this. Okay, now next step is your hull recovery. So after you have got a mixture of your gluten, starch and your hull, now starch and gluten, they are present in form of finer particles, while your hull is present in form of considerably larger particles compared to the particle size of starch and your gluten. Okay, the milled slurry after milling containing the ground starch, gluten and the hulls is passed through a series of hexagonal reels where the coarser hull and fiber are removed. Okay, since your starch and your gluten is present in form of finer particles, your hull is present in form of larger particles, so these hull particles can be easily removed when these are passed through a series of hexagonal reels. So the byproduct or the separated product from this process will be your hull particles. Okay, hull or fiber particles from your corn grains. Okay, now this fiber or hull particles can be further used sent to be used as an animal feed or for other products. Okay, like this can also be utilized in making of paper or other such products. Okay, now after hull recovery, next step is your separation. Okay, so in separation, what happens is the slurry containing starch and gluten, since now the hull has been removed, the particles or the constituents of your slurry will be your starch and gluten is concentrated, and then the lighter gluten particles are separated from the relatively heavier starch particles by centrifugal forces at high speed centrifuge. Okay, what happens is your after removal of hull, your slurry is a little dilute. So first of all, it will be concentrated because it has a large amount of steeping water, or it is present in form of slurry. So first it needs to be concentrated, and then since your gluten is lighter in weight than your starch particles, so this lighter gluten particles are separated from relatively heavier starch particles by the centrifugal, by application of high speed centrifuge. Okay, the centrifugation of starch is carried out in two stages. Okay, so it is carried out in two stages. In first year, like we will see here, the second stage of centrifugation is performed by a number of hydroclones. Okay, again these hydroclones will separate out your lighter particles from your heavier particles. The starch obtained from the second stage of separation is filtered and then dried to produce your dry starches. Okay, the starch obtained from second centrifugation, that is considerably higher, that has considerably higher weight or higher particle weight, are further dried up to use as your dry starches, while your lighter starch particles that are separated in the first stage of your centrifugation are used for some other products like fermentation products or any other products. Okay, and this gluten already has separated out during your first centrifugation process. So the second stage is simply to make or to separate out heavier starch particles, which can be used for your making dry starch powders. Okay, so this separation is the last step in your wet milling process. So after your separation, you will get your dry starch powders and liquid starch also along with your gluten, that in separate form. Okay, now there are different byproducts in both your dry milling also and your wet milling also. So in dry milling, your final products that are obtained are your endosperm present in form of large grits. Now there may be germ removal also, and germ might not be removed. Okay, in both cases the shelf life varies. Okay, now once your larger grits of endosperm has been produced in your dry milling, they can be further grinded or sent to milling or grinding process to make your corn flour. Okay, now in your wet milling process, your major products are your germ, from which germ oil is extracted. Again then you will get dry starch out of it, gluten out of it, hull or fiber or hull particles of bran will be separated out. So in this case, wet milling process, you will get different constituents that are separated out. In the structure of corn, we have studied pericarp, that is your hull, then endosperm, and then germ. Your endosperm consists of starch and gluten, which will further be separated out during your separation process in your centrifuge based on their particle weight. Since your gluten is lighter, it will be separated out from your starch particles, and heavier starches in second stage will be further dried to make your dry starch powder. So that was all in your corn milling. So we had studied different processes of corn milling. So that's all for your corn milling today. I hope you got to learn something new from this lecture. Thank you.